Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin, coming to you live from my kitchen. Today's episode, we're going to cover week 2 of the NFL season, and what a thrilling week it was. So let's get into it with the Thursday night games. We got the Browns beating the Bengals 35-30. Rookie quarterback for the Bengals, Joe Burrow. He had a stellar game, 316 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He did throw for 61 times, though. That's something that you can't have your rookie quarterback doing. The Bengals have something special. They better not mess this up. As for the Browns, this was the Browns offense that we expected to see. They got it clicking on all cylinders. Nick Chubb, 2 touchdowns, 124 rushing yards. Kareem Hunt, 1 rushing and 1 receiving touchdown. Odell Beckham Jr. finally got involved. He got himself a touchdown. Baker Mayfield did pretty well too. As for the Sunday games, we have the Giants losing to the Bears 17-13. Saquon Barkley, man, I feel bad for him. He's out for the season with an ACL. It sucks seeing a player that good be gone for the season. Speedy recovery to Saquon. As for the Bears, Trubisky got the job done. He had 2 touchdowns, did have 2 picks, but got the win. The Rams beating up the Philadelphia Eagles 37-19. Man, I love seeing Philly lose. I love that they're 0-2. Jared Goff, quarterback for the Rams, had 267 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Darrell Henderson had a total of 120 yards and 1 touchdown. Tyler Higbee for the Rams, the tight end, he had 3 touchdowns. If you had Tyler Higbee on your fantasy team, I know you did really well. As for the Eagles, Carson Wentz, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, and I don't know what to say about Philly besides that. I'm really happy that they're 0-2. As for this game, the Atlanta Falcons 39, the Dallas Cowboys 40. How about them Cowboys? What a crazy game it was. Despite the Cowboys fumbling 3 times and being down 20-0 in the first quarter, they rallied to come back. They were down 15 at one point in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left. They came back to win on a 45-yard Greg Zuerlein field goal. Oh man, what a game it was. My blood pressure was through the roof that game. Let's look at the stats. Matt Ryan, 4 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley, 109 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. They did good for the Falcons. As for the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, 450 yards passing, 1 passing TD, 3 rushing touchdowns, proving to everyone why he's the leader of the Dallas Cowboys. We look at running back Ezekiel Elliott, 120 total yards, 1 touchdown. Rookie CeeDee Lamb, he had 6 catches, 106 yards. Dalton Schultz stepping up for the injured Blake Jarwin. 9 catches, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys just looked clutch or if it was Atlanta doing their famous choke, because they always choke 20-something point leads, as you could refer back to the Super Bowl against the Patriots a few years ago. As for this game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers, Tampa Bay 31, Carolina 17. Teddy Bridgewater, 367 passing yards, 2 picks. Christian McCaffrey, 2 touchdowns. He left with an injury, though. Oh, man, I hope it's nothing serious. He's another great back to watch. He's so fun. I know if you have him on your fantasy team, you're probably stressing about his injury. But speedy recovery McCaffrey, too. DJ Moore, the receiver for the Panthers, had 120 yards receiving. Robbie Anderson had 109 yards receiving. As for the Bucs, TB12, Tom Brady, he had 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Leonard Fournette looking solid, 103 yards rushing, 2 TDs. Mike Evans, 7 receptions, 104 yards, 1 touchdown. He bounced back from last week's game. And the Bucs defense looked great. They had 5 sacks and 2 interceptions. Next game is the San Francisco 49ers beating up the Jets 31-13. Jimmy G had 2 touchdowns, but he left with an ankle injury. And Raheem Mostert, their lead running back, had 92 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, and he also left with an injury. And then don't forget their star on their defense, Nick Bosa, torn ACL, done for the season. A lot of 49ers players got injured in Sunday's game. As for the Jets, Sam Darnold didn't look that bad. 1 touchdown, no turnovers. You really can't blame Sam Darnold for losing. I mean, his best receiver out there was Chris Hogan. The guy has literally no one to throw with. I've been saying for a while now, the problem with the Jets is Adam Gase. You got to fire Adam Gase. He's what's holding that team back. As for the Denver Broncos taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steelers won 26-21. Denver Broncos quarterback Drew Lock left the game with a separated or sprained AC joint, and Cortland Sutton, their main receiver, left with a torn ACL. Speedy recovery for both of those guys as well. As for the Steelers, Big Ben Roethlisberger, 311 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. James Conner, 106 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Chase Claypool, my guy from Notre Dame, I'm a big Notre Dame fan, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. Steelers defense looking intense, 7 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 pick. Jacksonville Jaguars, they lost a close one to the Tennessee Titans, 33-30. Minshew Mania still did pretty well, 339 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. James Robinson, running back for the Jags, 102 yards, 1 touchdown. The Jags were down 30-10 at one point. They tied it 30-30, but the Tennessee ran away with it, 33-30. Tannehill for the Titans looked great, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and the Titans tight end Jonnu Smith had two touchdowns. So they both killed it for their team. Let's take a look at the Detroit Lions losing to the Green Bay Packers, 41-21. The Lions went up early, 14-3, but then went cold. Rodgers looked solid. He had 2 touchdowns and no picks. Aaron Jones had 236 total yards, 3 total touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. Green Bay defense had 4 sacks and 1 interception. Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. Bills win 31-28. Josh Allen, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 417 yards passing. He's my fantasy QB. He's the main reason why I won this week. Thank you, Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs had a solid performance, 8 receptions, 153 yards, 1 touchdown. As for the Dolphins, Fitzmagic, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And how about Mike Gesicki? He went to Southern Regional High School in New Jersey, 8 catches, 130 yards, 1 touchdown. Always good to see those guys from Jersey that make it into the NFL and just ball out. As for this game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Indianapolis Colts, Kirk Cousins looked horrible in their 28-11 loss. He had 0 touchdowns, 3 picks. Phillip Rivers did pretty solid, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor filled in nicely for the injured Marlon Mack. He had 101 yards, 1 touchdown. Indianapolis defense had 3 picks and 3 sacks. They did really solid. The Washington football team loses to the Arizona Cardinals, 30-15. Another solid win for the Cardinals. I'm happy Washington lost because, I'm a Cowboys fan. Washington football team's receiver, the rookie sensation last year, Terry McLaurin, 7 receptions, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. But Kyler Murray, he's killing it for the Cardinals right now. 286 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 67 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and DeAndre Hopkins is looking great in his Cardinals uniform. 8 receptions, 68 yards, 1 touchdown. Cardinals defense also had 4 sacks as well. As for the Baltimore Ravens and Houston Texans, Baltimore won 33-16. Lamar Jackson, 204 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. Ravens rushed for over 230 yards total. Ravens defense had 5 sacks and 1 interception. As for Deshaun Watson, not the best game, 275 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Houston defense had 4 sacks. J.J. Watt got 2 of them. So let's look at the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. Chiefs win 23-20 in OT. Patrick Mahomes had a solid game, 302 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Tyreek Hill had 99 yards and a touchdown. Travis Kelce had 90 yards and a touchdown. Harrison Butker, their kicker, kicked a game-winning field goal from 58 yards. Justin Herbert, the Chargers quarterback, stepped up for the injured Tyrod Taylor. He did pretty solid, 311 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I expect to see him have a solid game next week. As for the New England Patriots versus Seattle Seahawks, this was a thriller of a game. 35-30, Seahawks won. Cam Newton looked solid. He's been looking great for the Patriots. He had 397 yards passing. He had 47 rushing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception, 2 rushing touchdowns. Julian Edelman, 8 receptions, 179 yards. New England's defense got a pick 6 early to start, but then Russell Wilson took over. Speaking of Russell Wilson, 288 yards passing, 5 passing touchdowns to 5 different receivers. Those receivers that each caught a touchdown were DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, David Moore, Chris Carson, and Freddie Swain. Solid win for Seattle. Big win against a tough New England team. As for the final game, the Monday Night Football game between the New Orleans Saints and the Las Vegas Raiders, the Raiders got this win 34-24. Drew Brees, he had 312 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Alvin Kamara had 171 total yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Derek Carr had a solid performance, 382 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Darren Waller, the tight end for the Raiders, 12 receptions, 103 yards receiving, and 1 touchdown to go with that as well. The Raiders go to 0-2. The Raiders improve to 2-0 and get their first win in their new stadium. Raiders can be a dark horse this year to make the playoffs, maybe even win the AFC West, but I don't see it against the Chiefs, but they could sneak in there as a playoff spot, so watch out for them. This concludes episode 9 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember to follow my Instagram at the Idiotic Sports Talk and subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm going to do a $100 cash giveaway to my first 100 followers on Instagram and my first 100 subscribers on YouTube. So just make sure you give me a follow and you subscribe to my page. I'll truly appreciate it. Thank you again for tuning in and have a wonderful day.